Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. Today we have some pretty major news for The Mandalorian Season 4, but we begin with a topic that's been making the rounds. You know, it's really interesting that 4 years on from the end of Disney's Star Wars sequel trilogy, we're still talking about decisions that J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson made for their respective installments. We've also had John Boyega and Daisy Ridley contribute their opinions on 7, 8 and 9, but now it's Adam Driver's turn. When discussing his character Ben Solo/Kylo Ren, he told The Rich Eisen Show that the original vision for Kylo was going to be very different to what we got. His arc was essentially supposed to be a reverse Darth Vader, where Kylo starts out confused and torn between the light and dark, as we see in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, but after Snoke's death, he was meant to fully embrace the dark side as the new Supreme Leader. And this was a notion Disney Star Wars was trying to push until J.J. Abrams' Episode 9. Adam Driver criticizes The Rise of Skywalker for going off course and detracting from that original arc. He isn't fond of the Force dyad, and said that while Ben Solo was always a part of his character, we were never meant to see him turn back to the light. He was told from the get-go before they started filming in 2013 that Kylo's eventual path at the end of the trilogy was one of full darkness. The awkward kind of in-between stage was always meant for the first two films, not the third. And what's really interesting is that Adam's point is even more pertinent when you consider how it affects one of the most unpopular and controversial moments in the entire trilogy. One crucial aspect of The Last Jedi that Star Wars fans just couldn't get behind was the fact that Luke nearly tried to kill his nephew and Padawan Ben Solo just because he sensed dark side energy within him. But this would make sense if Kylo Ren was in the end irredeemable. If Master Luke knew that eventually Kylo Ren would become the most unstoppable and evil force in the galaxy, then he would have had a point to try and kill him to stop this. But that didn't end up being the case. Ben was eventually gonna have a redemption. But Adam even acknowledges, even though The Last Jedi did have its problems, Rian was still keeping on track with what would eventually have been Kylo Ren's ultimate demise. And he blames J.J. Abrams' Episode 9. Furthermore, his point is even more valid if you read the Journey to the Rise of Skywalker books, the 4-issue comic series Star Wars Allegiance. Now I know what you're thinking, Meg, why in the Bantha's backside would I ever read a comic book that takes place in between episodes 8 and 9? Don't worry, I'm not prescribing it to you, but I did read it at the time. And across the 4 issues there are so many attempts to soften the blow from creative decisions made in The Last Jedi. A prime example is giving Admiral Akbar, who died off screen, a little smidgen of grace through his son. But going back to Kylo, they talk about the darkness within the new Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, going down a treacherous path of embracing the dark. Whether or not he should have done so is subjective. There are those that argue Star Wars always needs a message of hope, and that hints of Kylo turning back to the light were teased just as much in episodes 7 and 8, so this was the logical step. But this has been making the rounds, and I've seen a lot of Star Wars fans say they would have preferred a fully evil Kylo Ren. Others are massive fans of Ben's redemption. So again, as Star Wars fans, we all have very differing opinions, but for Adam Driver himself, it was rather jarring. He speaks as though it came as a surprise, a 180 so to speak for his character. Is he right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, just while we're on the subject of the sequel trilogy, we have the Rey Skywalker Jedi Academy movie coming in 2026. And there's been a lot of buzz, positive, negative, and this headline from fandomwire.com summarizes a large majority of what you hear online. Confused fans ask, who wants this? After Daisy Ridley's Rey Skywalker movie update. And granted, there are lots of sequel trilogy fans, lots of people who love the character of Rey. However, right now more than ever before, there is so much apathy towards this film. A couple of months ago, in the community tab, I asked you guys, which of the upcoming films which are confirmed are you most looking forward to? No surprise, Dave Filoni's Mandalorian film came out on top, and then James Mangold's film, and lastly the Rey movie. Fans on social media don't seem too excited about what this film could bring. And an even more fascinating question I've seen, what could this movie do to get fans excited? Because even if they try to so-called salvage the character, go a different way with her, start a new Jedi Academy, maybe include Grogu, is it enough to get fans to go see another sequel-era movie? With the box office for many Disney films kind of plummeting, is that the best option to get Star Wars back in the cinemas? Is that the way to do it? I want to hear your suggestions and thoughts in the comments down below. What would the Rey movie have to do to get you excited? And so now, my dear friends, on to The Mandalorian Season 4. According to at least 2 sources via bestbinbulletin.com, The Mandalorian Season 4 is gearing up to start filming sometime in February, but they do say it could be very late January of 2024, so basically in the next couple of months. That is so exciting. Bespin Bulletin say February seems the most realistic, after what they've been hearing for a number of weeks, but they're not sure how long filming is set to last. If it follows the same production schedule as Season 3, it's probably going to be about 6 months, meaning it could wrap by August. And even more fantastic news on this front, while the release date is still 2025, it could be earlier in the year. And while the rumour of The Mandalorian Season 4 being a movie has not yet been debunked, making Star Wars have shed severe doubt on this. It is still reportedly set to be a series on Disney+. Now, while we're on the subject of The Mandalorian, the Blu-ray and 4K versions of The Mandalorian's first 2 seasons are now available for purchase, and in them, there is some more behind the scenes, which Disney has never shared. In particular, the new version features a look into how Grogu was created for Season 1, including never-before-seen footage of the puppet's creation and the creative's thoughts on the character. There will be several featurettes for every season that have never been shared on any platform before, which means they're separate to the Disney gallery. I'm so curious to see this for Andor Season 1 because we still don't have anything for the first season of the Tony Gilroy show. There have been a couple of images shared, but nothing substantial on the behind-the-scenes front. With regards to this Grogu clip, it's so crazy to see the eyeballs, the way the hands were made, the ears, every single detail, and how Jon Favreau admits it was such a risk. They were doubtful to use a puppet. They were originally going to do full CG for every single shot, but eventually they blended the two and then decided mostly puppet is the way to go. Grogu's become a sensation, a fan favourite. I'm curious to see what else is going to be shared. Okay, so moving on. As we come to the end of 2023, I just want to say a huge thank you to every single one of you who subscribed, who watch my videos, who contribute on the community tab. All of you are fantastic. Thank you so much for your support. But also please be sure to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so. And if you want to support what I do, especially during times when Star Wars is very much on a low, then please consider becoming a patron. The link is down below. But 2 nights ago, I put out a poll asking you guys, which of the 2023 Star Wars series had the biggest impact on you? The Mandalorian Season 3, The Bad Batch Season 2, Ahsoka, and one which I almost forgot to put in the poll but I did sneak it in, Visions Volume 2. The vast majority with 62% voted Ahsoka Season 1. Second was The Bad Batch Season 2, The Mandalorian Season 3 slipped to 17 in third place, and 3% Star Wars Visions, and I didn't expect much for the latter. At least in our community, other Star Wars channels might have a different result if they were to do the same poll. Mando being in third place is not too surprising, given a lot of fans think it was the weakest season. I agree with The Bad Batch coming second, and in terms of fan anticipation, I think it's safe to say most fans are very curious to see how that show ends. I'm hoping we get trailers or something very soon. I miss talking about active Star Wars content as it comes out. Nonetheless, my dear friends, on days where there's not Star Wars news, for example yesterday, I've been doing much more Star Wars lore, theories, that kind of thing. So if you missed it, I think you're gonna love the R2-D2 theory I posted yesterday. But otherwise, my dear friends, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up. May the Force be with you, always.